The starship Melody glided through the cosmos like a silent specter, its engines humming a soft lullaby against the backdrop of the starlit void. It was a vessel as old as it was reliable, coated in the dust of 1,000 worlds and the dreams of countless adventurers. Today it carried a particular batch of passengers, humans with an insatiable love for music, bound for the remote Siren's rest space station, known for its legendary saloon, the Cosmic Chord. As the ship approached the docking bay of the station, a ripple of excitement passed through its passengers. Stories of the Cosmic Chord had traveled through space and time, tales of a place where the most disparate beings could come together in harmony, united by the universal language of music. Aboard the ship, Mia, a young musician with sparkling eyes and an old soul, clutched her guitar case tightly. She had heard that the Cosmic Chord was a place where music could do more than entertain. It could heal, bridge gaps between species, and even alter the fabric of reality with the right melody. Her companion John, a seasoned drummer with hands as calloused as his heart was soft, was equally anxious to set foot on the station. As the melody docked, the airlock doors hissed open, releasing a flood of anticipation. The humans stepped out into the space station, greeted not by the cold, sterile environment one might expect from such a place, but by a warm, inviting atmosphere. The walls of the station were adorned with murals depicting various cosmic scenes, nebulas, star clusters, and distant galaxies, all pulsating subtly in sync with an unseen rhythm. They were met by Zilar, the station's chief coordinator, a being from a race known for their iridescent skin and empathic abilities. "Welcome to Siren's Rest," Zilar said, his voice a soothing melody in itself. "The Cosmic Chord Saloon is just through this corridor. Tonight you'll find that the tales you've heard barely scratch the surface of what awaits you." Mia and John followed Zilar through the bustling corridors of the station. The crowd was a kaleidoscope of species and cultures. There were Arquillians, small and sprightly, their bodies covered in bioluminescent patches that flickered with their emotions. Towering and taciturn Thronians, whose rocky exteriors were said to be as hard as their histories. As they neared the saloon, the distant sound of a string quartet blended with the low rumble of a bass, pulling them forward. The entrance to the Cosmic Chord was framed by a large arched doorway, the words, "Where Harmony Lives," etched into the metal in flowing script. Inside, the saloon was a cavernous room filled with tables and booths, each one hosting different species. The bar was a long stretch of polished wood, behind which a robotic bartender mixed drinks with an efficiency and flair that was almost artistic. Mia's eyes were drawn to the stage, where a group of musicians from various planets were tuning their instruments. A sign-up sheet hung on the side of the stage, inviting anyone with a song in their heart to perform. Her fingers itched to strum the strings of her guitar, to share her music with this motley crew of cosmic wanderers. John, on the other hand, was more interested in the patrons, each with their own stories etched into their faces. He wondered about the rhythms that had carried them through life, the beats that had sustained them in their darkest hours. The night was young, and the station spun slowly through space, a silent observer of the unfolding drama within its walls. As Mia stepped up to the microphone, her nerves settled, replaced by a surge of excitement. This was her moment to connect, to harmonize with the universe in a way she had never done before. The first chord struck, resonating through the saloon, and for a moment, all was still. Then the room erupted into a symphony of applause and cheers. Music, the timeless mediator, began its work, weaving a tapestry of sounds and souls into a night that would be remembered for eons. As the evening unfolded, it became clear that the melody had brought not just passengers but pioneers, ready to explore the mysterious melodic cosmos at the heart of Siren's Rest. The Cosmic Chord was buzzing with an eclectic mix of harmonies, as Mia's set transitioned seamlessly from earthy acoustic solos to vibrant, collaborative pieces with musicians she had just met. Her ability to adapt and blend into the musical landscapes of others made her an instant favorite among the patrons, who ranged from simple miners from the asteroid belts to traders who weaved through the cosmos. John, mingling among the crowd, stumbled upon an old Neptunian named Threll. Threll, with his deep blue skin and eyes like ancient glaciers, carried a set of flutes that sang with the wind of his home planet. Intrigued, John asked about the instruments, and soon he found himself seated next to Threll at a quiet corner table, listening to stories of Neptunian ice storms. "The winds," Threll explained, his voice low and resonant, "carry secrets from the core of the planet. When played, these flutes can mimic those sounds. It's not just music, it's history, emotion, everything woven into one." Meanwhile, Mia, fresh from the stage, her spirit alight with the thrill of performance, wandered deeper into the saloon. Her ears caught a peculiar melody, one that seemed to echo through the room with a haunting familiarity. It was coming from an obscure corner of the saloon, where a solitary figure sat, shrouded in shadow, manipulating what appeared to be an ancient synthesizer. Curious, Mia approached, her footsteps silent. The figure was a Gorian, known for their sensory abilities, which allowed them to perceive sound in ways no other species could. The melody he crafted was complex, filled with layers that seemed to twist and turn upon themselves, creating a labyrinth of sound. "May I join you?" Mia asked, her voice soft, not wanting to disrupt the artist at work. Without pausing, the Gorian nodded, his focus unwavering from his instrument. Mia sat, her guitar in her lap, and listened. Slowly her fingers found the strings, her guitar gently weaving its own voice into the Gorian's sonic maze. Together, they explored the boundaries of their music, pushing into realms neither had ventured before. Back with Threll, John was discovering a similar boundary crossing. Threll handed him one of the flutes, encouraging him to play. John, inexperienced with such an instrument, hesitated at first, but under Threll's patient guidance, he blew into the flute, surprised as a soft, mournful sound emerged, blending with the ambient hums of the space station. As the night progressed, the saloon seemed to dissolve the boundaries between the worlds outside its walls. Music became the medium through which stories were told and new understandings forged. Mia and the Gorian, now joined by others intrigued by their fusion, created a symphony that spoke of new horizons and old worlds. Each note played was a step deeper into each other's cultures, a testament to the power of sound and soul. John, now playing with a timid skill, saw music as a bridge, not just between individuals but between entire species. His rhythm, simple yet sincere, complemented Threll's wind-like whispers. Around them listeners gathered, drawn by the unexpected pairing, their faces alight with wonder and delight. The evening wore on and the music did not wane but grew stronger, more daring. It filled every corner of the cosmic chord, spilling out into the corridors of the station. Those who had come seeking a momentary escape found instead a profound connection, a shared experience that promised more than just respite, but a glimpse into the infinite possibilities that lay when different worlds harmonized. In the saloon, every chord struck, every beat played, every breath into a flute was a discovery, an unspoken conversation between the stars themselves. And as the station orbited silently in the vast starry sea, the music played on, a beacon of unity in the vast expanse of space. As the night deepened, the music at the cosmic chord evolved, echoing the cosmic dance of the stars outside. Mia, inspired by her collaboration with the Gorian, felt a surge of creativity. She suggested a bold experiment, a jam session that would include every musician in the saloon, regardless of their origin or experience. The idea was met with an enthusiastic chorus of agreement, and soon a diverse ensemble gathered on the stage. Each participant brought their unique instrument, a collection as varied as the beings who wielded them. From the crystalline chimes of the Zilinthians to the resonant drums of the Terrans, the stage became a microcosm of the universe's auditory treasures. As they tuned their instruments, a palpable excitement buzzed through the air, the anticipation of creating something truly unprecedented. Mia took the lead, her guitar chords providing a foundation on which the others could build. The Gorian, ever the enigmatic maestro, wove intricate synth patterns that acted as sonic glue, binding the disparate elements into a cohesive whole. John, now more confident, added rhythmic depth with thrill, whose flutes infused the ensemble with the soulful cries of distant winds. As the jam session unfolded, it was clear that this was more than just a musical gathering. It was a profound cultural exchange. The Thronian, a species known for their reticence, stepped forward with a stringed instrument that looked like a fusion of harp and lute. His fingers plucked at the strings, each note a deep, rumbling echo that vibrated through the very structure of the station. Beside him, a petite Arquillian added her bioluminescent light show, her body flashing in rhythm to the music, her own way of singing along. Her light patterns added a visual layer to the performance, turning the stage into a canvas of sound and color. In the midst of this symphony, an unexpected participant joined. The station's AI, typically relegated to operational tasks, manifested on the main screen above the stage. It had synthesized a vocal element based on the myriad sounds it had absorbed over the years. The AI's voice was otherworldly, a chorus of tones that no single species could produce, yet it harmonized perfectly with the ensemble. The music peaked, a crescendo that seemed to encapsulate the essence of the universe itself, chaotic yet ordered, diverse yet unified. The audience, comprised of beings who might have never spoken outside of this context, were on their feet, dancing, swaying, and in some cases floating, as they let the rhythm take them. This harmony extended beyond the auditory. It was a moment of cultural synthesis where language barriers fell away, replaced by the intuitive understanding of music. The differences that often divided species seemed trivial against the backdrop of shared creativity. As the final notes lingered in the air, a silence fell over the saloon. It was a respectful, almost reverent quiet, a collective breath held between moments of magic. Then, as if a dam had burst, the room erupted into applause, whistles, and cheers, a cacophony as heartfelt as the music itself. The musicians bowed, their faces reflecting the joy and surprise of what they had created together. Mia looked around at her fellow performers, their eyes shining with the shared thrill of what they had accomplished. They had not just played, they had transcended. As the crowd began to disperse, conversations ignited, with gestures and smiles bridging the gaps where words failed. The cosmic chord was no longer just a saloon. It had become a nexus of interstellar connection, a place where the music didn't just play, it resonated through every soul and star in reach. In the aftermath of the unprecedented musical gathering, the cosmic chord became a beacon, drawing even more travelers to its doors. Word spread across star systems, turning the saloon into a symbol of unity and exploration through music. For Mia and John, the experience deepened their commitment to their craft, propelling them into roles they had never imagined. As the station's newfound fame grew, so did the opportunities for cultural exchange. Siren's Rest began hosting a series of workshops where beings from different planets could teach others about their musical traditions. Mia, with her inherent knack for melody, and John, whose rhythms were now influenced by the diverse beats he'd encountered, led many of these sessions. One morning, a mysterious visitor arrived at the station. She was a renowned ethnomusicologist from the distant and advanced planet of Harmonia, a world where music was considered the highest form of communication and governance. Dr. Ilara Siren had come with a mission, to study the saloon's unique convergence of cosmic melodies and possibly to document its impact on interstellar relations. Dr. Siren introduced herself during one of the workshops, her presence commanding yet warm. "I've come to observe, learn, and hopefully contribute to your remarkable project here," she explained, her voice melodic, hinting at her planet's vocal traditions. Eager to tap into her vast knowledge, Mia invited Dr. Siren to collaborate on a special project, a symphony that would incorporate the diverse musical elements of the station's regulars, creating a living archive of the cultural fusion occurring at Siren's Rest. John saw the potential for a rhythm section that would not only back the melody, but tell its own story through the interplay of traditional and innovative percussion instruments. The project quickly became the heart of the station's activities. Dr. Siren, with her deep understanding of musical structures and cultural significance, guided the ensemble, suggesting ways to integrate seemingly disparate musical threads into a cohesive and harmonic whole. She introduced scales and rhythms from Harmonia, which were based on the orbital resonances of her home system's planets, adding a celestial layer to the music. As the symphony developed, participants from various species brought their unique sounds to the table. A Jovian giant introduced low-frequency bass lines that were felt rather than heard, vibrating through the station's deck plates. An insectoid choir from Xylar added a chittering counterpoint, their natural bioluminescence pulsing in time with their intricate rhythms. Meanwhile, the station itself became an instrument. The AI, now an integral part of the community, manipulated environmental systems to add wind, temperature, and light effects that complemented the performances, turning the entire saloon into an immersive sensory experience. During this creative explosion, a call came through the station's communication array. An ancient spacefaring race known as the Echoes, seldom seen but often speculated about, had heard of the musical renaissance occurring at Siren's Rest. They were en route to experience it for themselves. Their message conveyed in harmonics that the station's AI spent hours decoding. The anticipation of the Echo's arrival brought a new wave of energy to the saloon. These beings were believed to communicate solely through music, their language a series of complex harmonies that could influence the very fabric of space. Their impending visit promised not only to elevate the station's musical project, but potentially to offer new dimensions of cosmic understanding. As they prepared for the arrival of the Echoes, Mia, John, and Dr. Siren worked tirelessly, refining the symphony to ensure it was a worthy representation of the communal spirit and the universal language of music that the cosmic chord had come to embody. The station pulsed with activity. Each beat and note. The day the Echoes were expected to arrive, Siren's Rest buzzed with a nervous energy. The entire station was involved in the preparations, from the youngest Arquillian flicker child to the oldest Thronian rock bard. Every corner of the saloon was swept, every instrument tuned with meticulous care, and the air was filled with a palpable sense of expectation. Mia and John spent the morning rehearsing with the ensemble, each musician focused intensely on their role in the upcoming performance. Dr. Siren moved through the group, offering gentle corrections and encouragement, ensuring that every element of the symphony resonated with the precise emotion and technical excellence they aimed to achieve. As the designated time of arrival approached, the station's external sensors picked up the distinctive energy signature of the Echo's ship, a vessel that appeared less constructed of material components and more woven from light and sound. It approached Siren's Rest not with the mechanical thrusts of engines, but with a graceful gliding motion, as if it were dancing between the stars. The docking was silent, an elegant testament to the Echo's advanced technology. When the airlock door opened, the beings that stepped out were unlike any other species the station's residents had ever seen. The Echoes resembled humanoid forms composed of vibrating strings of light, their bodies emitting soft, harmonic tones with each movement. Greeted by Xylar and the station's welcoming committee, the Echoes communicated their gratitude for the invitation. Their voices were not heard but felt, a symphony of vibrations that resonated directly with the listeners' minds, evoking deep, unspoken understandings. The saloon was packed as the Echoes entered, their luminescent forms casting prismatic colors across the faces of the audience. A reverent hush fell over the crowd as Mia stepped forward, her guitar in hand, flanked by John and Dr. Siren. She introduced the symphony they had crafted, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The music we share today is a gift not only to our honored guests but to all of us, as a celebration of our unity and diversity. It is a living archive of our collective cultural heritage. Mia's introduction set the stage for what was to come, and as she strummed the first chord, the saloon seemed to breathe in unison with her. The performance was more than a musical event. It was a cosmic event, weaving the diverse threads of the galaxy's cultures into a tapestry of sound that transcended language and species. The Echoes, moving among the musicians, added their own harmonics to the performance, enhancing the music with layers of sound that seemed to bend the very air around them. John's percussion provided the heartbeat of the symphony, his drums echoing the rhythmic pulse of the universe. Dr. Siren, conducting with a light hand, directed the ensemble through movements that mirrored the life cycles of stars, from the explosive energy of new formations to the serene lull of nebulae. As the final movement drew to a close, a blend of melancholy and triumph filled the air. The last note hung suspended in the space, a perfect, lingering silence that was eventually broken by the thunderous applause of the audience. The echoes, deeply moved, responded in kind, their bodies shimmering with colors that pulsed in sync with the applause, a visual standing ovation. After the performance, the echoes expressed their wish to share something in return. They invited the residents of Siren's Rest to their ship for a concert of their own, offering a glimpse into their culture's musical expressions, which promised to be as enlightening as it was enigmatic. As the inhabitants of the station made their way to the Echo's ship, they felt a unity that stretched beyond the confines of the station, a reminder of the power of music to connect not just notes, but hearts and minds across the cosmos. Inside the Echo's ship, the atmosphere was unlike anything the residents of Siren's Rest had ever experienced. The interior seemed to be crafted from the same strings of light that composed the echoes themselves, with walls that pulsed gently in rhythm with the harmonics of the ship. The air was filled with a symphony of ambient sounds, each note perfectly tuned to create a sense of peace and awe. The echoes led their guests through the ship to a grand chamber at its heart. Here, the walls expanded outward, creating a vast amphitheater that seemed to open directly onto the cosmos, stars twinkling in clear view through what appeared to be a transparent dome. The setting was breathtaking, designed not just for an auditory experience, but for a full sensory immersion. As the concert began, the echoes took their places at the center of the chamber. They didn't have traditional instruments. Instead, they manipulated the strings of light that made up their bodies, each movement creating a cascade of musical tones. The music they produced was rich with complex harmonics, some so advanced that they seemed to touch on the very essence of existence itself. Their performance was an exploration of their history, a narrative told in frequencies and vibrations. It spanned the birth of stars, the formation of their home world, and the evolution of their species into beings of sound and light. The music resonated with the universal themes of growth, loss, and rebirth, touching the hearts of all who listened. Mia, John, and Dr. Siren were deeply moved by the echo's ability to convey such profound experiences through music. They realized that this exchange was more than cultural. It was a sharing of existential truths, an interstellar dialogue about the nature of life itself. As the concert concluded, the chamber gradually returned to silence, and the audience was left in a reflective quietude, each person processing the depth of what they had experienced. The echoes, sensing the profound effect their music had on the guests, communicated their hopes that this exchange would continue, that the bond formed through music would foster further collaborations and understanding. In the days that followed, the impact of the echo's visit was felt throughout Siren's Rest. Inspired by the profound expressions of the echoes, many of the station's musicians began to experiment with new forms and theories in music, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. Mia and John found themselves at the forefront of a new musical movement, one that sought to integrate the teachings of the echoes into their own compositions. Dr. Siren, her research enriched by the experience, began to compile her findings into a comprehensive treatise on the role of music in galactic diplomacy. Her work highlighted the events at Siren's Rest as a prime example of how music could serve as a universal language capable of bridging even the vastest divides. As word of the echo's visit and the resulting musical renaissance spread, Siren's Rest grew in renown, becoming a cultural hub not just for musicians but for diplomats, scholars, and all who sought a deeper connection to the cosmos through the universal language of music. In the end, the symphony that began in a remote space station saloon echoed out into the galaxy, a melody of unity and understanding that resonated across worlds. It was a testament to the power of music to connect, to heal, and to transcend, proving once again that in the vast, mysterious expanse of space, harmony was not just a concept, but a reality.